Clay.
Hello, Lynn.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
What you doing?
I hope they're laughing.
Well,
Or they've come here to laugh.
well, that's the ticket, man.
I hope they're not having, tough days.
But if they are having tough days, we're a good place to land.
Get soft landing.
Speaking of soft landings.
Uh-oh.
Can I tell you a story?
Can we just take that as read now? That, if we're...
Can we have a podcast? Is that what I should say?
I have this feeling that, if we're sitting in chairs with microphones in front of us...
We should assume...
We should assume that one of us is going to tell each other a story?
I have a tough time with assuming,
You know what happens when you assume. Tell the story.
Okay. So soft landing, not so soft landing. So back in the day, I, of course, visited so many organizations, and people would ask me, how do you know if the organization is a good one to work for? How do you know interviewing, whether it's a great place to work or if I should not work there? And I was like, well, there's a lot of things. I mean, there's so many things. Like if everybody has their door closed and the place is really silent and you're kind of a loud, raucous human being, maybe not the place for you. Or if, you're a casual sort and they're all wearing turtlenecks for fun and, three-piece suits, maybe not for you. But this is my true ever-loving test.
Wearing turtlenecks for fun.
I had a VP who was a client. She wore turtlenecks for fun, a very stern woman, but she loved me for some reason. And I think it was because I knew what I was doing and I told the truth. And she wasn't used to that. But I digress.
Yes.
I know how to tell whether a nonprofit is a healthy place to work or not.
Okay, tell me.
And not healthy like they serve, smoothies in the break room. But it does involve the break room.
Okay.
So when you go into a nonprofit, you have to go there physically. Zoom interviews won't do it. Nope. You got to go there physically. And for those people who are working in a remote environment, I don't know the equivalent yet, but I will work on that as the months progress. You are in a bad workplace when everywhere you turn, there are passive aggressive signs. So let me give you some examples of my favorite.
Oh.
And there are two places in which the workplace culture really shows itself at a nonprofit.
Yeah.
The two places of most intimacy, the bathroom and the kitchen.
Yep.
So as a lady, if you go in the bathroom or a person who identifies as female and you see signs like, please be a seedy, wipe the sweetie. Seedy. Wait, huh? I didn't do that right. That made you laugh. Please be a sweetie, wipe the seedy.
Oh.
Or look before you flush and wipe up after yourself.
Yeah.
Or please don't flick your hands with water on them. Please use towel. Anything with the words please and then a passive aggressive statement and then an emoji usually or clip art.
Oh. Yeah.
Clip art of some sort in the bathroom. Spray the poo-pourri after you, or go on the fourth floor, right? If it's that bad, go home, things like that. Yeah. And then the other place is the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
The kitchen where if you see signs that say things like, I'm not your mother, wash your own dishes.
Your mother does not work here. Clean up after yourself.
Yes. The other one is passive aggressive things around food. So these are Jake's LaCroix. If you steal one of Jake's LaCroix, Jake will go home for the day. Honestly, it's usually something around the dishes.
Something around the dishes, yep.
Or the Keurig coffee maker, and what to do with the pods afterwards. Or
the mass industrial coffee.
Oh, the brewmate. The brewmate.
You're right.
Right.
And, we provide this as a courtesy to you to enjoy. And if you can't take responsibility for it, we'll take it away. Because threats and signs in public places are always
a sign
motivational.
Of healthy culture, right?
Yeah.
And then one time I went into an organization and they went above and beyond. Not only did they have coffee, but they also provided a refrigerator full of soda, Dr. Pepper. You can tell what state this is in. Diet Dr. Pepper, Diet Pepsi, Diet Coke, regular Pepsi, regular Coke. Look, different varieties of water, sparkling water. And it wasn't just for guests. It was for the employees.
Right.
And there was a sign taped to that refrigerator that said, We see you taking 2 extra Diet Cokes home from work every day. Please stop, or the soda refrigerator will stop for everyone. Undersigned management.
There's one organization that I worked for that they provided sodas for guests when guests would come for meetings.
That's nice. I like when they do that for consultants.
Et cetera. And, and they were kept in the refrigerator. And there was always a sign, these are for guests only. Right. Well, then, okay. But have you seen this at other places? Because there's a third place where you can really tell culture, and you can really tell if this is a good, healthy place
some of these, our listeners right now are looking around.
Oh, totally.
And
totally.
By the way,
totally.
Okay, I'll get to this after our snack break about the people that make the signs, but tell me the third place, Clay.
The third place where you can tell.
Okay.
The reception desk.
Oh.
If it's an office with a reception desk, and there's one of 2 ways to tell. One, the reception desk is full of instructional signs.
Oh.
I am only here between the hours of this and this and this. If you need this, ring the bell. If you need this, do that. If you need that, do that. Do not use these pens. These pens are for, I went into, there's one, and I could tell 1,000 stories about reception areas with signage and postage and, blah, blah, blah. And I went into one, and it was one of those where the receptionist was, does this happen in higher ed? I don't think it does. The receptionist was also the fundraising data entry person.
Oh, no.
Raise your hand if it's you. Raise your hand. Let us hear from you at fundraisingthisfunny.com if you have worked in that shop where the receptionist is also the person who does all the data entry into the CRM. Anyway, so this particular receptionist had one of those plastic see-through signs.
Screen protector?
No.
The plexiglass sign with that you put a sheet of paper in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And it said, and she would put it up, and it said, if I am sitting here and not responding to you, it is because I am doing data entry and not reception at this time.
Because she couldn't handle both?
And then there was another sign that said, if the receptionist is otherwise occupied, please ring this bell or something.
I love the bell ringing.
But there was 5 if-then signs that you had to go through.
It just gives me anxiety thinking about it.
To get through. Well, and I don't process signage quickly, right?
Yeah, that's true. When we do travel together, I'm the sign reader, and he's the
and I'm standing there going, okay, wait, it says,
and I'm like, come, Clay, come,
right,
come,
and
come,
I just follow, and it gets me into all kinds of trouble. But I like it
because then we end up in a room full of free snacks somehow.
We do. But no, you had to go through this. Okay, if she's busy, then this sign is here. Okay, so if she's busy, then you do this thing over here. So I had to go over here and see what that sign said. Well, by the time I read all the signs, she finally
turns around,
takes off her earphones.
Yes.
Oh no, not turns around, because her computer.
I'm working here.
Her computer, of course, is facing right. So the whole time I'm standing there.
She's staring at you the whole time?
Yeah. And she finally just,
Epic.
Pops out the headphones and is like, can I help you?
And on that note.
And I'm like, no, I finally figured out what I'm supposed to do, but thank you.
No. And that causes me so much stress. I'm going to go get a snack. So we were talking about how do you know a good workplace culture and how do you not know one, and some of the passive aggressive signs. Well, let me tell you another one.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if y'all have had this or you've ever seen this, but this one is very popular in what I would call a shared space environment.
The cubicle farm?
A shared space environment.
The Whack-A-Mole Center?
The shared space environment.
Yes, understood.
That's what leadership calls a cubicle farm. Okay. It's like residence halls or dorms. Okay. And we have our vernacular.
Yes.
Over here. Have you ever seen the person with literally a rear view mirror, the round circular ones? Because their back faces people.
Yes.
And they want to see who's coming.
I actually had one for a while.
It tells me that you don't trust, and that we shouldn't trust you, because if the big boss is coming, you're going to clear off what's on your screen and move to a spreadsheet. And then that same person also has one of those, unless you're standing directly in front of the screen, you can't read the screen.
Uh-huh.
And then they claim it's to protect donor data. And so, Those two things tell me that immediately there's no trust in the workplace.
Okay. And the other side of that coin?
Oh, don't even try to make an excuse.
No, I'm not making an excuse, but there's two other sides of that coin because this is also such an indicator of office culture, right? There is the person who will walk up in a shared space environment.
Cubicle farm.
And just start talking. As if
that's
you're not on the phone,
disruptive.
You're not in the middle of something, you're not whatever, right? Or, there's the person who will just come up and stand. And if your shared space environment and your back is to like the public area and somebody just comes up and stands quietly waiting until you have a moment to acknowledge them, and then you turn around and you're like, yeah, it's Jay from accounting and I didn't know you were there, right?
So you mean they don't knock on your shared space environment?
Or okay, so there's a third type of person, which is the person that comes up to your cubicle or your office, your space,
space,
and finds the only solid surface because it's all made out of material or whatever, and they come up and they go knock knock.
Oh, I can't with those people, Clay. But all this to say,
yes.
That the environment, so what do? I mean, do you police the signs that people put up? I think you instead have discussions around office etiquette and mannerisms. My pet peeve in the office is people who don't refill the printer paper. You see the blinking red light. You know what it means. Put the paper in the machine.
How much time is spent in the nonprofit sector fixing printers?
Well, as a consultant, I have literally laid on the ground and gotten covered in toner powder finding out.
More times than I can count.
And I'm like, don't you guys have now?
And then
you're
that
help that. And then you're that person who always does it because they know how to do it.
Yep.
But I do want to say that one of my favorite signs of all time.
Yes.
I went to a university and they were in temporary units while their building was being built for their offices. And they had been through lots of ways to have fun in their office, and they were just a great crew. I love them dearly and had a lot of fun visiting them. And they had a copier, printer, scanner, it probably was even a fax machine all in one. And it was made by the Ricoh Corporation, RICOH. Yes. Someone with a grand sense of humor.
Yep.
Had pasted a photo of Rico Suave. Do you remember?
Rico Suave.
On the printer.
We might just have to ask our dear, wonderful, amazing producer, Julie, to include a link to that.
Yes.
But first, we will have to introduce her to Rico Suave because I am sure.
And so they had not only pasted a photo of Rico on the printer.
Yes.
But at the tray where you picked up your printouts, it said on a printout. And when you needed to connect network-wise to that, it was not like Rico 6412 _. Nope.
Right.
It was just Suave.
See, that's awesome.
And see, that tells
culture. That tells me there's
a hilarious culture. That is people who, may have had a little extra time on a Friday afternoon.
Sure.
But used it for good. Used it. It's kind of like we had a really long hallway in one office and we would do afternoon bowling.
I have never done anything like that in an office
No.
environment. I have
Never
no
had fun
idea
in an office.
What you're referring to.
But all this to really bring home the point that culture, and you know what? The culture where you have Rico Suave on a printer shirtless may not be for everybody.
No.
And the culture where people don't have fun is also not for everybody. So you need to interview your organization the way they interview you. You need to take a look around. What space they put you in also says something. I once interviewed at a very prestigious place, and they had put the donor relations department in a garage with a roll-up door next to the print shop because they were the ones that always needed invitations. So they put you in a garage. That's where your shared office space was. And I'm like, well, this tells me the priority of donor relations at this organization, since I found out they have moved out of the garage because they couldn't hire people because no one wanted to work with a roll-up door and a dolly next to them. And I'm not talking about, a Barbie doll. I'm talking about...
Or Carol Channing. Hello, doll.
Right. Hello. But all this to say is that our cultures express themselves in many ways. Our clothing, are laughter down. If I am interviewing or working as a consultant at a place and I hear laughter roll down the hallway, that makes me so happy.
I mean, yes.
And it affects outcomes. A happy office is a good office.
A happy office is a good office. The question is, what is the need for the note, right? Because I guarantee you, there are very few grown-up adults who need a written reminder to at least
flush the toilet.
I mean, the punchline here, right?
We know who you are.
What's the upshot here? Well, first, if you're going into it is funny as hell. If you're going into that organization, you're interviewing, you're whatever, then that is a big indicator of culture. Number two, I guarantee you that the external perception of the organization and its relationship with donors and funders and others works in direct proportion to the number of passive aggressive signs in the office.
Can you imagine walking in as a donor or a board member and being like,
but what about the organization that has Rico Suave on the printer, but there's a board meeting, so everybody take down.
No.
See, if your board doesn't get that, you've got the wrong board.
You got the wrong board and you're working in the wrong place.
If your board, and I've seen this happen, if your board is concerned about frivolity or laughter or humor or whatever in the office, your board needs other things to do.
Right. And again, I think that's so we're talking. So the punchline here is we're talking about workplace priorities, workplace culture. We're trying to serve people who need our help. Like there's just so many bigger things going on in the workplace, but it does note to culture. It gives a nod to what are we spending our time on?
Yep.
What are we prioritizing? Obviously, it's not the dishes.
Yep.
And also, like, how do we think about the other people we work with? Because I respect you enough to say, you got broccoli in your teeth, bud. Have some gum.
Do I?
No.
Oh.
And you already had some gum. So, but can we just be kind and give feedback? Do we have to like leave deodorant at someone's desk?
Can't 9 times out of 10, the person that put up the sign knows who did it.
Oh,
you know,
those that smelt it, don't it?
Oh my God, we are 3 today.
We are 9.
You know,
we are 9.
Here's to me, this is the punchline. One, for the people that are living with it and dealing it every day. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you have to put up a sign. I'm sorry that you have to read a sign.
Pull it down.
But what can you do, right? What can you do on a daily basis? Don't put up the sign. Don't sprinkle on the seat. Like, these are simple things.
If you do, just clean up.
If you're in leadership, if you are in a leadership role, it is very easy to roll your eyes at the person who's stealing food from the refrigerator, the person who is leaving a mess in the bathroom. It starts with you.
Absolutely. And sometimes our leadership might be the worst offenders.
And if here's the thing, if you're in leadership and this is happening, figure out why. Because this is an indicator to you that your culture is off.
Yes. And if you're new in an organization and you've just landed there, soft landing, see, go all the way back to the beginning.
Nicely done.
You're welcome.
Culture is everybody's responsibility.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. I mean, it really does. You can have all the strategy in the world, but if Marge is spending her days clicking on word art
and making signs
and looking in her rear view mirror at her desk,
counting the sodas.
Oh, inventorying them. You know, we have bigger problems. And if we can't be thoughtful enough, then we really have to do it. So here's what I am dreaming about, Clay.
Tell me.
Because I don't have much of a life. Fundraisingisfunny.com. I want you to submit. You can do it anonymously. We won't tell where it is.
Or the memes. You
can send those. But what's your best office sign?
Yes.
Give us the passive aggressive.
The best.
It could be the Mayo Clinic and we won't sell you. No, it could be sweaters for penguins. We're not snitches because we don't like stitches.
Give us your best sign.
Your best sign.
Lynn, can I leave us with this
sure.
just quick story?
Other than being kind?
Being kind. I did work in one office where we had an ongoing problem with food being stolen out of refrigerators. So people would bring food, for lunches or dinners or whatever.
Maybe somebody's hungry.
And people would store it there. And we went for weeks with food disappearing. And it was passive aggressive science. If you just messed up, the refrigerator is going to go bye, 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 bye. Our senior VP came out. And we had a big central room. And we would do announcements once a week and, all company meeting. And our senior VP goes, hey, I've set up this process and named a box where you could put your name in or an email address or whatever. I've set up this process. It is completely anonymous. If you are so hungry that you need to take somebody's food out of the refrigerator, please get us your information and we will make sure that you have lunch.
That's how you do it.
Changed the culture.
That's what I was going to say. I bet the person's hungry. Or, you might get mad because there's a sprinkle in the tinkle, but maybe somebody has a disability or maybe somebody has hurt themselves and you aren't aware.
Yeah.
Or they have something going on. So let's give some grace.
And kindness.
And kindness to people.
In all things.
Everything. Now, some things are just unacceptable. Like,
sure.
I don't know. Well, no comment on the word clerk also is, that's a great movie. But all this to say, share your thoughts, share with us. We'd love to see you at fundraising.isfunny.com. And we can't wait to read your signs.
Have a good one, everybody.